Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, lovers and seekers, those who are lost, and those who are found. Tonight I will be reading from the compilation titled Outlaw Creative, The Geometry of Life. We will be hearing from the chapter titled On Wickedness and the Wicked. That being said, let's get started, shall we? On Wickedness and the Wicked. Wickedness is often imagined as spectacle. It wears obvious costumes: cruelty, corruption, violence, overt malice. It is easy to condemn the grotesque. It is harder to diagnose the subtle. In the Psalms, wickedness is not primarily theatrical. It is architectural. It is not a moment of anger. It is not a sharp word. It is not even a season of confusion. It is orientation. The Hebrew Rasha describes not merely someone who commits wrong, but someone whose center of gravity is misaligned. Wickedness is settled misalignment. It is ego enthroned and unexamined. The contrast in Psalm 1 is not between monster and saint. It is between rootedness and drift. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked. Notice the verbs walk, stand, sit. There is progression. Influence becomes posture. Posture becomes identity. Wickedness is rarely immediate. It is cumulative. It begins with counsel, voices, narratives, inner monologues. It moves into stance. It ends in seat. The seat of the wicked is not rage. It is comfort in misalignment. A man can be sharp and not wicked. A man can be forceful and not wicked. A man can be mean with verve and flair and still not be wicked. Capacity for force is morally neutral. The question is what that force serves. When force serves protection of ego, revenge, dominance of narrative, or constant self-justification, it begins to tilt toward wickedness. When force is governed by reflection, proportion, and recalibration, it remains under authority. Wickedness is not intensity. It is lack of correction. There is also a psychological dimension. Wickedness thrives where examination ceases. If there is no internal tightening when asking, "Where am I misaligned?" something is wrong. The slight tightening in the sternum is conscience functioning. It is calibration. It is evidence of moral sensitivity. The wicked are described as chaff. Chaff is light, reactive, wind-driven. Rootedness is the opposite. The righteous are compared to trees planted by streams of water. Not warriors, not geniuses, trees. Rootedness is discipline repeated quietly. It is orientation towards something larger than the self. Wickedness is self as gravitational center. Rootedness is alignment to structure beyond ego. Creative life complicates this. Production can serve ego. It can also serve integration. Anxiety can collapse inward. It can also become signal. The difference is cumulative effect. Does the work increase steadiness? Does it reduce retaliation? Does it soften posture? Or does it amplify agitation, obsession, comparison? The fruit reveals orientation. Psalm 1 is agricultural for a reason. Orientation produces yield. Yield reveals root. Wickedness also has a temporal feature. It prefers immediacy. Immediate satisfaction. Immediate retaliation. Immediate vindication. Immediate relief. Rootedness tolerates delay. It accepts repetition. It accepts boring cadence. It accepts slow growth. The wicked are impatient with discipline. The righteous marinate in it. This is not about perfection. It is about trajectory. Another subtle form of wickedness is narrative domination. The need to control how one is perceived. The compulsion to signal strength. The urge to restore power through spectacle. These impulses are human. They are not automatically wicked. They become wicked when enthroned, when they define identity. When retaliation becomes self-definition, misalignment stabilizes. When reflection precedes action, alignment returns. Trust interrupts wickedness. If threat must be managed constantly, ego becomes judge and jury. If trust exists, trust in structure, trust in justice beyond personal enforcement, then retaliation loses urgency. Wickedness thrives on self-appointment as ultimate arbiter. Trust releases that burden. This is why the Psalms repeatedly link refuge with stability. Not passivity, not abdication. Refuge. To take refuge is to relinquish total control. Wickedness cannot rest. It must manage. Rootedness can rest. It can stabilize. Importantly, wickedness is not eradicated once and for all. It is an ongoing drift risk. Every human system bends towards self-gravity under stress. Exhaustion increases tilt. Anxiety increases tilt. Isolation increases tilt. Discipline counters tilt. Reading counters tilt. Cadence counters tilt. Examination counters tilt. Wickedness is not an identity to be feared. It is a curvature to be monitored. The tightening that arises when asking, "Am I wicked?" is not condemnation. It is awareness of possibility. Possibility of drift. Possibility of enthronement of ego. The healthy response is not shame. It is recalibration. Return to stream. Return to root. Return to cadence. In the end, wickedness is less about sharpness and more about sovereignty. Who sits on the throne of action? Impulse? Ego? Grievance? Fear? Or alignment to something steadier? The seed of the wicked is comfort in misalignment. The seed of the righteous is comfort in structure. When desire shifts from dominating narrative to stabilizing life, orientation is changing. That shift is not spectacle. It is arc.